All right, so good evening and welcome to tonight's You Have Questions, I Have Answers, Pick My Brain Masterclass. And so each of you, if you decided to submit questions, you have submitted questions. I have the questions here. I am going to answer all of the questions, plus answer any additional questions you may have. But let me go ahead and get my screen shared. I don't have a big presentation, but I like to always have something for you to be able to have on the screen. So if my computer will act right tonight. All right. And it is. Okay, cool. So now we got it. Awesome. So can everyone see my screen? Thumbs up if you can see my screen. Awesome. And so I am, for those of you, okay, also put in the chat if this is your first time ever attending a master class with me. If this is your first time ever attending one of our master classes, put in the chat number one, or if you've been with us before, put a number two. So if you've ever done a master class with us in the past, put a number two. If you've never done a master class with us in the past, put a number one. And so we have all new visitors this evening and then some returning. So welcome back, Ms. Harris and Ms. Mosby, and then welcome to all of the new parents and students who are tuning in with us on this evening. I am Regina Robinson. I am the CEO and founder of Suited for Success College Planning Services, where we have been helping families like yourself for the last 15 plus years successfully win the game of college admissions. We have helped students gain over $25 million in scholarships and grants. And I'm always forgetting, Amazon ranks our book, Winning the Game of College Admissions, number one for helping high school families successfully navigate the college admissions process. I am a graduate of Bowie State University, go Bulldogs. Also, graduate from Georgetown University, go Hoyas. So if we have any future Bulldogs or future Hoyas, welcome as well for students who are aspiring for either one of those college or institution. I am a former high school educator. I taught high school students for 8 years for business classes. I'm a certified Nifty entrepreneurship teacher. And I'm a former college professor taught at Trinity Washington University. So I don't hold on the teacher and professor hat anymore. I am strictly running Suited for Success. Every year I help 10 to 20 students who are in that graduating class through what we call our Shining Stars VIP College Bound program through the entire college admissions process to make sure that they can successfully find a place they can call home for the next 4 years. I have been doing this for the last, again, 15 years, and I'm excited to continue doing that. But tonight, of course, you can read all of my awards and all of my accolades and all of that good stuff about me on my website. But that's just an overview. You can see all the accolades on the screens and certifications and certificates. But tonight we're here to answer all of your questions. So we're going to jump right in and start diving into the questions that you submitted. And then as you hear me answering these questions, if you have additional questions, do not hesitate to drop them in the chat, or when we open up and I finish through the questions, I'll ask if you have additional questions. You'll be able to come off mute and ask those additional questions. So let's jump right in. First question was, can my child start applying for scholarships as a freshman? You can start applying for scholarships as early as middle school. It is not too early to start applying for scholarships. Please do not wait till your child is in their junior year, senior year, or sophomore years to start looking for scholarships. We have what we call our monthly scholarship membership, where we mail out a list of scholarships every single month. We have at least 40 plus scholarships on this list every month. And literally it's a 1997 membership, but we spend that in Starbucks. And so it is a best 1997 investment, only though if you are going to open the email, apply for the scholarships, and then of course, if your child wins the scholarship, and they're in, let's say, 10th grade this year, is held until they become a graduating senior and commit to whatever college they are planning to attend. So parents, please do not wait for your child to start applying for scholarships. In fact, I'll tell you what I tell all of my parents: create a scholarship night in your house. I have I'm not high school, she would kill me if she knew I said that. I have a college senior who, when she was in high school, we were always doing scholarships. She was on one computer, I was on another computer, which is why she's now a senior and we have never once paid any tuition, nothing. We get a refund every semester. So parents, is doable, but you got to make sure you're doing those scholarships, okay? Next question was someone said, when is your college tour? So our college tour for spring break is coming up in March. So it will be March. I'm going to get those dates because I don't want to tell you the wrong dates. So I am going to look directly from the flyer. It is going to be March 24th through March 27th. We'll go to Clark Atlanta, Spelman, Morehouse, A&T, Central, Norfolk, Virginia State, and Hampton. Those are our tentative schools right now, but those are our confirmed dates right now, March 24th through March 27th. That spring break is Prince George's County Public Schools spring break. And so that's when we will do. I always tell parents, it's important for your child to visit colleges. They need to know what type of school they're looking for, small, medium, or large, HBCU or PWI, which is historically Black colleges and universities, or predominantly white institution. It's imperative that they get an opportunity to lay eyes on a campus so they can understand the environment and the culture, the size, the fit, what they are really looking for when they're searching for a college campus. So again, if they don't go on our tour, parents, take them on a tour. Make sure they get an opportunity to lay eyes on a college. You cannot expect them to start preparing their college list if they've never seen a college campus. So college visits are absolutely important. When should you start college visits? As early as 8th and 9th grade. You should start going and taking your child on college tour. Now, of course, our college tour, you have to be in the 9th grade and up. But again, you should start looking at colleges as early as 8th grade. You can go and take them on a tour. I always used to tell my parents, whenever you're on vacation somewhere, if it's a state your child is interested in a college, make sure you take a stop by that school to visit that college while you're on vacation. Make it a twofold for your investment, right? The next question is, what if the student doesn't have extracurricular activities or community service? Community service is important because most schools require you to have a certain amount of community service hours to graduate. I highly recommend your community service hours be done by the time of your junior year. But let's say you're a junior now and you have not done your community service hours. Now is the time to get on top of completing your community service hours as soon as possible, okay? As soon as possible, start completing your community service hours. Extracurricular activities, you have until the end of your high school career to get involved in extracurricular activities. Now, quality trumps quantity all day. So what do I mean by that? Being involved in 6 and 7 clubs doesn't mean anything to a school. It's you being committed and you've participated in these clubs for maybe multiple years, or that you hold an office position inside of these clubs. That's what you want to focus on when you're looking at extracurricular activities. Now, if your child has not ever participated in an extracurricular activity, does that mean they're not going to get into college? Absolutely not. That is not what that means. You can still get into college if you've never participated in an extracurricular activity. They've done sports. Maybe they're in the National Honor Society. That's an extracurricular activity. Maybe they are in their church or doing things inside their church, doing things inside their community from an organization, a part of maybe a Kappa program for boys or Delta or AKA program for young girls, or the Girl Scouts. All of those things are extracurricular activities that they can still list as part of their activities. So don't discount if they have those as well. Someone asked a question, do I apply to the school first or the scholarships? So you don't wait until you're a senior applying for college to start applying for scholarships. So if that's the question, then no. If you were asking that question, like meaning when you are now, after you've applied for the college, do you now apply for additional scholarships? That is up to the college. Every college has a different process. Some of them have where you apply for the admissions and that guarantees you or a look for all scholarships. And some colleges have it where you need to separately apply for scholarships, okay? So that's twofold when it comes to that question. Someone also said, interested in learning more about essay writing. So when we originally asked, let me look back, we had 2025, 2027, and I'm sure most of those students, and you can chime in the chat and let me know if you have even started, or if you're one of those students who always say, well, I'm not a very good writer. If that's you, put an emoji in the comment. If that's you, if you feel like you're not a very good writer, I hear students say that all the time, and I'm always encouraging them to not use that language, right? You are a great writer, and your college essay allows for you to be that great writer. It allows for you to be creative. It allows for you to color all outside the lines while keeping grammar and sentence structure, right? But it's a place where you can share about something that is not something the admissions counselor can read on your application. It is for you to share a story about yourself. And I always tell my students, start with fireworks and end with a bang. And it's still set up the same way. And so let's say you're on here tonight and you're in the class of 2025. There's a chance that they will not change the Common App questions for you. And if they do, they won't be changed a whole lot. So I highly suggest you Google Common App 2025, Common App 2023, 2024, college essay questions, right? Because that's for the students who are about to graduate in 2024. Take one or two of those questions. Right now, our VIP program juniors are doing this. I'm giving you exactly what I do with my students. Take two of the questions and start brainstorming those questions. Now, what they do is they just brainstorm an introduction, because then they have me to give the introduction to, and then I'm going to review it and tell them which one I believe they can tell a most compelling story full out about. And then from there, they're going to begin writing paragraph by paragraph. And so they don't go from beginning all the way to the end. They have to get my approval on every paragraph before they move to the next one. So what I'm saying to you is you can do that same concept with your parents, or with maybe your teacher at school, or if you become a part of our VIP program, you can exactly do it with me. But that is what I'm saying to you is a part of a college essay. Creativity, color outside the lines, start with fireworks, end with a bang, and tell a compelling story from beginning to end. The person reading should feel like they were there experiencing whatever you are sharing about that day when they are reading your college essay. When that happens, you know you've written a great essay. And I always tell students, if you have not had 3 to 4 drafts, you have not written a great essay. So don't be afraid to have different drafts and starting over. I'm always tell my students to save it on your computer, right? And then each time you go in, put a date at the end. Every time you make revisions, put a new date, so that you never get confused on your different drafts that you are working on. Never throw away, because you never know what you'll go back and say, you know what? I remember I wrote this sentence. I love that sentence. I'm going to bring that into this paragraph because it fits right here. That's a perfect way of being able to maintain all of your information together. Okay, so that's essay writing, because that was one of the questions. Someone said, when should I start the college application process? If you are a graduating, no, let me say this. When you are a rising senior, meaning you have finished your entire junior year of high school, that summer on August 1st, college applications open for you. Let me say that again. At the end of your junior year, not senior year. See, that's why I always tell kids who think they have until senior year is late. At the end of your junior year, that August when you go home in the summer, so class of 2025, this summer in August, applications will be open for you to apply to colleges. That's why you understand why it's so important, class of 2025 right now, to start those Common App questions, find your 2 prompts, start working on that essay draft, because you have about we're in November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. You got about 9 months to craft an amazing stellar college essay. 9 months. And you want to make sure you have it. You can't submit to some colleges without your essay. And then keep in mind, you're going to have supplemental college essays. So you'll have essays on top of essays. Why not get a head start with one now? So again, end of your junior year, going into your senior year, that August college applications open, which is why you should be researching colleges now heavily, creating a preliminary list and getting down to your top list of colleges, okay? If your GPA increases during your senior year, what is the best way to update your school, or what is the best way to inquire with the school? Unfortunately, here's the way that goes. Once you apply for a school, at the end of your junior year, when you apply in August, September, or October, whenever you apply, they receive an official transcript from your school. It has your 9th, 10th, and 11th grades all on there, and your cumulative GPA. That's what they go based on, your cumulative GPA at the end of your 11th grade year. Now, if a school is highly considering you, but they're on the fence, they will ask for your senior grades. That's the only time you get to submit your senior grades, is when a school comes to you and say, we like what we see. Would you like to submit your senior grades? Okay. And so that's when you can actually submit senior grades. So hopefully that helps for that question. If someone asked about, there were a couple of questions for FAFSA. So I'm not going to cover FAFSA tonight because I did 2 master classes this in October and in November back to back on FAFSA. You can go to our website and purchase our FAFSA masterclass. So the only thing I will say is, if you're a junior, sophomore, or freshman, you do not do anything with the FAFSA until your child is a senior in high school. They must be a senior in high school already for you to do anything with the FAFSA, okay? How to select the right school? Great question. So here's some ways for you to start going through. There's over 4,000 colleges in the United States. Here's a quick way for you to narrow down those colleges. First and foremost is location. Are you looking to go 3 to 5 hours away? Do you only want to stay on the East Coast or the West Coast, or are you for both? Are you looking for a PWI or an HBCU? That automatically eliminates some as well. Then you start looking at your major. Then you start looking at whether you want to play sports, or if you're looking for a school that has maybe a football team, because every school does not have a football team. If you're looking for a school that has the Divine Nine, which is sororities and fraternities, those are ways for you to start eliminating the schools for you to get down to your preliminary list. Then when you have that list, now you start going to their YouTube channels, their social medias, their website, and you are doing what my students call a dive deep. So our kids have to all do dive deeps on each of their colleges that's their preliminary. Then they have to prove to me why they're removing or adding or keeping on their final list for their colleges, whether I recommend the schools to them or whether they have found the schools on their own. They have to do their dive deep on all schools. So I highly recommend students start your research now and start doing your dive deep. Going to college fairs is a great way to do research, as well as going on college visits is also a great way to do research. But use social media for what it's worth too, and check out these colleges' social media. What are some of the early scholarships that can be applied for now? Any private scholarships that are out now, you can start applying for. So again, that's doing research on different scholarships by month. You can do Google searches on by month, or however you want to do the searches. You can search out scholarships, but the school's scholarships, you don't get to apply for until you're actually applying to the school. So that's the difference for that. Someone said, what steps can I take to determine if a school is the right fit for me? Most importantly, visits. You need to visit the college to determine. I don't know how many times when I was a high school teacher where I would hear students say, oh, Ms. Robinson, my #1 school is such and such. And I would say, oh, great. Why? Because I've either visited that school or know a lot about it. Well, why do you think that that's your #1? What do you love about that school? How was it when you went to visit? And they would always say, some would say, I never visited yet. Then it can't possibly be your #1 school if you've never seen the college campus yet. Please, students, you must see these college campuses before you start declaring they're your #1 choice. Because just because either your parents went there, now mind you, I would have loved for my daughter to go to Georgetown or to go to Bowie when she first went to college. Now, she attended college at McDaniel College in Westminster, Maryland for her freshman, sophomore, first semester of her junior year, and then decided she wanted to transfer. Now she's at my alumni, Bowie State, right? So she's going to finish out there as a Bulldog. But at the beginning, when she was first going off to school, I couldn't persuade her to try and go to my schools just because I wanted her to be legacy. No, she had to find her own place. She had to decide where was best for her. Same thing, parents, please don't pressure your child to go to your alumni. Your alumni might not be a great fit for them. Let's see. Someone said how to find the most lucrative scholarships that are not directly tied to a school. So here's what I always say. Lucrative is $500. Lucrative is $1,000. If you do enough of them, they become lucrative. A lot of people don't do scholarships because they say, oh, it's only $500. Oh, I'm not going to waste time. It's $500 more than you have. Colleges are ranging anywhere from $10,000 out of pocket to $40,000 out of pocket. $500 sounds good to me because it takes away and it chips away at that 10,000 when you start to get a multitude of 500 or 1,000 or $5,000 scholarships. But you wouldn't know that if you don't apply for them by just eliminating them because of the amount. So all scholarships to me are lucrative scholarships. All right. And that was it. Those were all the questions that everyone submitted. It was a lot about scholarships, right? Which I can understand because, again, I just said the cost of college is ranging anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000 a year. That is a lot of money, parents, a lot. And so we want to make sure that we can get as much of that money paid for as possible. And so you want to make sure you are tapping in to that money, and that money is through scholarships. Okay. So questions. Now let's open up the floor. Let's bring in more questions that you might have, specific questions to you and your family. That's why we're here for this session tonight. Specific questions for you, right? Parents pay big money to be next, just to get me here to ask questions. And you have me tonight to ask those questions. And it's a small group of you. We had I think 29 people register for this. 26 showed up. Okay. So that means the 6 of you were supposed to be here to get your questions answered and get the information that you want to know specifically for your family. Someone says, where do you depart and arrive for the college tour in March? So we depart from here in Maryland, in Prince George's County, in Oxon Hill, Maryland. So Oxon Hill Park and Ride is where we leave from Oxon Hill Park and Ride, and we return back to Oxon Hill Park and Ride. So I know some parents will say, do we have to live in Maryland to attend the tour? No, you do not have to live in Maryland to attend the tour. We've had students from California, we've had students from New Jersey, we've had students from Atlanta come all the way here and then go down to Atlanta with us. We've had kids from all over. So no, you do not have to be here locally in the Maryland area to attend with us on the college tour. Do you have any tips for college/scholarship interviews? So most scholarship interviews are only scholarship interviews if it's for the college and it's a department scholarship. That's the only time there's scholarship interviews, or unless there's maybe a private organization giving out money and maybe they want to do scholarship interviews. But we're going to send everyone who attended the Masterclass, right? The live session with us. We're going to send each of you a copy of a college interview ebook that I created to have tips. So it's funny that you asked that, Ms. Nelson, that has tips on college interviews. So again, before we jump off, make sure you stay to the end. I'm going to grab everybody's name who was present, and we are going to personally email you that ebook for college interviews. So that will give you all your answers right there inside of that right inside of that ebook. So that was a great question. All right. Any other questions? Drop them in the feed, drop them in the chat. We are here to get all of your questions answered. Do students have to attend public school, or can they be in a private school for your services? So students who are a part of my program go to public schools, private schools, homeschooled. And so I have students from different places. So not all students are public school students. In fact, majority of my students are usually private school students or homeschool students. And then I get a sprinkle of public school students as well. We do in our program, we take students who are just regular academic students, and we also work with students who are 504 IEP students as well. And so we have that opportunity as well. We've worked with students. Our students are not just from here locally. Our students are from in fact, around the world. We've had students from India go through our program because they wanted to come here to the United States to go to college. So we have worked with a plethora of students in our program. Other questions, Listen, let me make sure I say this, and I say this all the time. No question is a dumb question. I always say it's dumb when we don't ask questions and we get off from something and we're still confused and we have no clarity or confidence in what we're doing because we didn't know the answer. So please, that is what this session is for. Drop as many questions as you have into the feed. I am here to answer your questions. If we sign up for the monthly scholarship subscription services, do we get a list of scholarships that were sent out months prior, or is there a database of scholarships that we can search? So once you sign up for the scholarship membership, it starts with that month. You don't get back prior because it's monthly. And so you don't get the months previous because you haven't paid for those month previous's. But if you come in and those month previous's don't help you because they've already expired. So let's say you signed up tonight. You would get, the list actually goes out the 24th of every month, and that list is for the next month. So on this week, on the 24th, the list will go out and there will be scholarships for all of December. Then on December 24th, the list will go out and there'll be scholarships for all of January. So they're month by month. Now, if you enroll in our VIP program, then you automatically get that list and you don't need to have the scholarship membership separate because you automatically get that list. And if there's a scholarship or an application that's confusing, you have me to support you with that. Other than that, the list on its own for 1997, you never get me, you never see me, you never talk to me. It's a list, you get it directly to your email. And you just have to go through the list and apply and make sure you follow through and support your students. The scholarship section of the college admissions process is the one place I tell parents that you should be 100% involved. Why? Because colleges are business. They're in the business of making money. And whose money do they want? Yours. Your ultimate goal and my parents' ultimate goal in my program is to get their money. To give as little of our money as possible. And so you want to be that same way. And so I wanted to take this opportunity. Does the scholarship list include scholarships for freshmen? Here's how our scholarship list works. So it has a list and it's an Excel spreadsheet. It says all high school students, seniors, and college students. There's a tab at the bottom for each one of those. All high school students. So that means any grade you're in, you want to go through that list. Seniors only, you want to go through that list, right? And then college students, if you're just a college student, you want to go through that list, but they're all in one spreadsheet. And keep in mind, every year they change. So I know we had one parent said, well, Ms. Robinson, that's crazy because all we got to do is save the list. You can, but next year that list isn't going to be the same. Some of those won't be valid anymore. And then we'll have new ones. And if you're still trying to bank off of having the old year's list from the last year, you won't get the new list that's from the new year. And so each year they're new. Each year we're going through them, eliminating the ones that are no longer valid, and then adding new ones that have come out for that month as expiration. So every year, we are making sure that we offer everything to you as a service. So while you're thinking of additional questions, I want to talk to you a little bit more and make sure I don't get off with telling you how we can support the families who actually need our support through our VIP College Bound program. So here's a QR code. You can scan this code. It's going to take you to our website, and you can have access to this code to see everything that I'm about to explain to you on the next slide. And I'll bring it back to this slide in a minute, but I want to try and make sure you understand exactly what our program entails, what we do with our students in our program. And I actually have a parent here that wants to explain from a parent perspective also, whose daughter has gone through my program and has been with me since she was in the 10th grade. So We have an exclusive online database that we use for our students in our program. It houses every college in the United States. So you heard me say there's over 4,000 plus colleges. Well, our students in our VIP program, our Shining Stars, have access to those schools. They know what major they offer. They know what GPA and test scores they're looking for. The parents know how much the school costs, an average of the aid in their income bracket for that school, as well as the percentage of difficulty of getting into that college, because some colleges have a percentage because they're more rigor to get into in the application process. We have all of that at our fingertips with that college. And so that's in the students' online database. The parents have access to the students' online database. And that is the information that will be given to you, and it's assigned to the students as soon as they enroll in the program. Once you on board, we have our family consultation, because the students are in a group cohort, but to me, they're all individuals. And so we do that family consultation to create their roadmap before they roll over into the group cohort with their peers. Their cohort is never more than 25 students in a cohort. Usually it's much smaller. It's anywhere between 10 to 20. We usually barely ever go up to the 25 because most of the time I don't feel like taking that many students. So we usually barely go up that high with that many students. We work with students on getting from those 4,000 colleges down to their top 7 to 10 schools. They are allowed to apply to 5 to 7 in the program. Anything they do beyond that is on their own. Why do we have a cutoff? Because college applications take time. You have to write essays and supplemental essays, and you can only go to one in the end. We help the students with reaching out to their counselors and their teachers for their recommendation requests to make sure they have everything in order when it is time. We make sure they don't leave no stone unturned, right? We want to make sure that their applications get a yes and not a maybe or a wait list or a no. Our ultimate goal is to get a yes. 97% of our students get into their top 3 choice schools. 100% get into college because we do 4-year and 2-year. But most importantly, 90% of our students get some form of merit aid. So when parents invest in our program, they get that investment back. When their student gets one college acceptance with merit aid, they get that back multiple times on one letter. And so that has been their biggest celebration and being a part of my program. Essay, we work with the students, as you heard me say, from beginning to end. The kids don't usually like me doing that part because I have to keep turning them around to go back to the drawing board. But in the end, when they get those yeses in the mail, they're like, Ms. Robinson, thank you so much for pushing me to give my best. I've had students in our program win scholarship money for their essays. So parents, there's extra money to be gotten. We got to make sure the kids do the work to receive it. The students meet on group Zoom sessions. Everything is Zoom. It's not in person. Well, to me, Zoom is in person because they can see me and I see them. We have our cameras on and we are tuned in every session that we have together. I review the student's academic profile to make sure they're on track for the colleges that they are considering, to make sure they align with those schools. We work with the students on building out their academic resume to highlight their extracurricular activities and their community service. We also help the students, once they have completed their applications, they are not allowed to submit until I have reviewed every application first. We also, if there's a scholarship that they're running into problems with, because the scholarships have been streamed today, where they're really just basic information about their family and themselves that I wouldn't know anyway, so the kids are able to do all their scholarships on their own. But here's where the VIP program meets them in the middle. The students have to apply to scholarships and they have to prove to their parents and myself that they are applying to scholarships, because kids will often say they do and they don't. And we want to make sure that they are, because we don't want to have to spend unnecessary money, parents, when they should be doing the scholarships to offset the cost of college. Last but not least, we support the parents in the FAFSA. So when it's time for you to do the FAFSA when your child is a senior, we work with you as a part of it's a bonus. as a part of the program during your first year that you are in the program with us. So meaning that first time when your cat child goes off to college for freshman year, it's a bonus to you and we support you in completing the FAFSA. And so this is an overview, a summary overview of our VIP program. One of my parents, Miss Adams, is here tonight, and I'm sure she'll be able to tell you from her perspective as a parent what it meant to her daughter, for me to support her daughter, for her daughter to be with me. Her daughter actually went with me on the college tour first. And then she's been sticking with me like glue since. And so we've been connected by the hip ever since the college tour. And so she is now one of my shining stars. She is a graduating senior, upcoming class of 2024. And she has already started receiving college acceptances. So we are super proud. Miss Adams, you could come off mute and
Hi, Ms. Robinson. Thank you for letting me come on tonight. How are you guys
you're welcome.
doing? I would turn my camera on, but I washed my hair, so you don't want to see me. But I would just like to say that, yeah, this is a really good program. We met Ms. Robinson in the spring of 2021. My daughter went on a college tour with her. It's a 3-day overnight tour, the first time going away without her parents. So we were a little uneasy, but after meeting with Ms. Robinson and all the Zoom calls she held prior to that, we were very comfortable with letting her go with Ms. Robinson and her crew. So she did go on the tour and she toured a couple of her favorite universities, actually her top university, and she loved it. And after she came back from the tour, I mean, she was calling Miss Robinson auntie, along with some of the other students. We're like, auntie? They was like, yeah, we call her auntie. So that's how they felt like they were with their auntie, which made me feel good. So my husband and I was looking for someone like Miss Robinson, like a college coach, because I mean, we're both college graduates and master degree graduates, and we're both active duty, but we've been out of school for a long time. So we were looking for somebody who had the current knowledge. And when Adriana came back from the tour, we signed up with Ms. Robinson's VIP program, and no regrets. We've had no regrets to this day. Adriana is a part of her VIP program, which is she's in the class of 2024 cohort. And Ms. Robinson does run a tight ship. So I like that, because my child is one that she'll get it done, but she procrastinates. And I'm not a procrastinator. So we clash heads all the time. We're like fighting because I'm like, just get it done. So I like that I have Ms. Robinson on the back end to like, yeah, just get it done. So anyway, she has actually gotten accepted into 2 of her top universities. We waiting on one, but she's got accepted into 2. She's received scholarship money for one, and they told her that there's more to come if she continues to go on the path with her grades, which she will, because she does well in school. So this program, we really like it because it just keeps us in line. And also it just helps us out so much because, like I said, we're both active duty, and at any given time, one of us could deploy out. And usually I'm the one that's helping her a lot with college stuff. So I just didn't want anything to fall through the cracks. We needed a continuity with someone, and Ms. Robinson was definitely that person. I can't speak too highly of her. She was very great with us, and we just love it. I mean, my daughter can text her with questions because I'm like, I don't know, ask Miss Robinson. So she would text Miss Robinson. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. But
sorry,
yeah,
Miss Adams, go ahead. No, that was someone's phone was off mute. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So she would text her with any questions. She would answer them for her. And one thing that I really like is that in the spring, my daughter's essay and her college resume was done. It was like a good rough draft, just needed a few tweakings, but everything was done. So she was able to apply early action. And as she was applying, she's getting back acceptance. Some of her friends are actually just applying to universities now and doing college tours, which I think that's, it's a disservice to the child, because with us, my daughter was able to, she's gone through a couple of things she wanted to major in. She was able to hone down a major and actually look at those universities according to that major to see what they offer. And so that ruled out some of those universities she wanted to apply to because they didn't have the program she was looking to go to. She liked the school, but they didn't have the program. So overall, we've been very satisfied with the program. I've recommended it to several people, and it's been good for us. And like Ms. Robinson said, I mean, you get it back with the scholarship money or the merit scholarship money that you get when you get that acceptance letter. So we've gotten ours back, and we just wait no more to come in. So do anyone have any questions for me?
And I promise you guys, I didn't pay Miss Adams to say this. This is just her love for us and what we do for her and Adriana. So, and again, and all of the kids are like my own children, and they will tell you, that's why they call me auntie and everything, because I treat each student like they are my student, because I want to see them be just as successful as my own child is.
And no, she did not pay me. So I just put that in. And my daughter goes to a private school. I know someone asked that question, but she goes to a private school. So she was far ahead of a lot of the students at her school as it relates to getting ready for college. We were sitting in the college preparation meeting earlier in the school year, and well, it was like the end of last year, and I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I would be so lost if I didn't have Ms. Robinson or know what we were doing. So we felt very well prepared, and it was no stress on us. So we're doing good. But thank you, Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. Absolutely. That's a misconception that a lot of families have, that the guidance counselors at your school are going to do the work. But they are doing the work for some students, for some schools, for over 300 kids. So there is no work for them to do. And even at some of the private schools, because Adriana goes to a smaller private school, but it's still either change in transition of counselors, the amount of students that they have, and some students, like she said, require more attention. And so they're able to get that attention in the cohort because it's such a small group. And we work individually to make sure each person is on task. And the students, again, some of them are procrastinators, some of them are drag their feet, but in our program, students are not allowed to go past November 15th for applying to all of their schools. And so the majority of them were finished like October, first week of October, some second, some third week, and then some into the November before the 15th deadline, which is why they're getting college acceptances now, because they had their applications in early, whereas you heard Ms. Adams say some kids haven't even applied to school, all their schools yet. And here we are going into Thanksgiving in another day or two. That's late for a senior. Colleges have a limited amount of spots they can take for students out of state, and that they're willing to take for students. And when you play at the end and wait to the deadline, that's why most students get left out, because they have delayed in applying, or they just don't know that they should be applying early on. So thank you again, Ms. Adams, for sharing. Is there any parents that have questions for Ms. Adams? You can either type it in the chat or come off of mute and ask your question before she drops off from with us. And then I'm going to finish answering all the questions that are in the chat feed. But if you have questions for Ms. Adams, from a parent to a parent who has just gone through the college process as a parent, now will be the time as a parent, if you have questions, to ask her before she drops off. So any questions for Ms. Adams, feel free to unmute yourself if you do, or you can drop it in the feed. We'll give it a minute to delay to see if there are any questions.
I have a quick question. Was there a particular college search website that you found the most helpful, Ms. Adams, in looking for scholarships for your senior?
Ms. Robinson sends out the list every month. So we basically just go through all to see which apply to our daughter, but no specific for scholarships. But my daughter did receive merit scholarship for one of the universities she applied to. So we're just waiting for others.
Did that
But we,
answer your question, Miss Lene? I think her name was
It sure
Lene.
did.
Oh,
You
okay,
sure did.
awesome.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, so the students in our program get a list every month. And as I said, like the monthly scholarship membership that we send out to every family that's on the membership, our students get that same list as well. Plus, they're in a group text thread. And so anytime I get additional scholarship information that's not on the scholarship membership list, they get access to. Unlike the ones that are on the list, they just get what we do for the month. But in between the month, there's other scholarships that I find out about, and the parents in our program get that. But 90% of the bulk of money that we are looking for my families is merit aid. So I align my students when we are creating their college list to the schools that they're going to get the most merit aid from, which is why you heard Miss Adams say we got the scholarship of merit aid, because that's where we push the most. Remember, the most money you will get is from merit aid at a college, and then you should be finding those private scholarships and those senatorial and delegate and all of those scholarships to offset the remaining balance that your kid does not get in merit aid. All right, so any other final questions for Ms. Adams before she drops off? Thank you so much, Ms. Adams, for being willing to take time out of your evening to jump on this evening. I will talk to you guys. I will talk to you, Adriana, of course, in January.
all right, thank you. You guys have
thank
a
you.
Thanksgiving. Okay,
Happy
bye-bye.
Thanksgiving, yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so someone said, do you have any tips? Oh, we did that one. Students have to attend public school. Oh, no. Okay, we did that. We signed up for the scholarship student service. Do we get a list of scholarships that were? Does the scholarship list include for freshmen? Thank you. $20 is a blessing for having someone else do the work. Yes. Can you talk a little bit more about academic resumes? Your academic resume is something that you need for multiple reasons. You need it most importantly for your college application. Some of them require or they ask for an optional academic resume. You want to have that because nothing is ever optional. It helps to highlight you, right? Your academic resume should include your extracurricular activities, your courses, your GPA, any programs you participate in, and your community service. That is what your academic resume should entail. Most importantly, your academic resume on the second side of it should be used to give to your guidance counselor and your teachers you are asking for recommendations. Why? As educators, we do not know anything about you but what you do in our class. So if you don't give us something so that we can highlight important things about you, it will be a generic letter, and you don't want a generic recommendation letter. For 2025, when does the VIP program start for your next group? So all of our cohorts run. So I already have 2025 students in our cohort. Some of them have been with me since they were in 9th grade. And so you can enroll into and charter into the 2025 program. If you're a 2026 student, you can charter into the 2026 with the 2026 students. If you're a 2027 student, you have to interview. But if you're a 2025, 2026, then you have to have at least a 2.5 GPA. Okay, if you're a 2027, which is a 9th grader, you must interview. I need to make sure the 9th grade is ready to move forward. Not every 9th grader is ready. Some of them really just need to have that time to transition for high school because they might be struggling. A lot of 9th graders I just simply do mentorship with, and they're not fully in my program yet because they were maybe in need of something else as opposed to being ready to get started in the college process. So that's how we do it for 9th graders. But 10th and 11th graders, especially 11th graders, we are already moving forward. My 11th graders are already working on their college essay drafts, their academic resume drafts, and they are already looking at preliminary schools for their college research. So you can see how imperative time is for the class of 2025. What is a good number of community service hours? Some scholarships are based on community service. So here's what I always say. If your school requires 25, do 50 to 100. Don't just be the bare minimum person. And so you always want to go above and beyond. Colleges don't focus on the hours of service per se. What they do focus on is whether whether your child has completed their hours by the time they apply. That looks good. Does it make a difference of whether you might get in or not? I mean, if you were neck and neck with another student and you had everything the same except for community service hours, who do you think they're going to choose? The other student who has the better community service hours and the most. And if your child had not done theirs yet, that'll wing them out right there. So please make sure your students are doing their community service hours. Who are the best people to get recommendation letters from for college? You must get your guidance counselor. That's not optional. And then your teachers, you can use, then there's 3 recommendation letters. Your guidance counselor is a must. Number 2 is, if let's say you want to major in biology, it should be your science teacher. Let's say you want to major in math, it should be your math teacher. Let's say you want to do journalism or writing, it should be your English teacher. And then the third person could be your coach. It can be a teacher, it could be a mentor, it can be an advisor, it could be your youth leader, your youth pastor at your church. That can be the third one, okay? Or it can be another teacher. If you apply early or even on time and get accepted, do colleges give you a specific standard time to accept the offer? National Signing Day is May 1st for all colleges. Now, some colleges will say if you sign now, you're guaranteed this amount plus this amount, right? And so I always tell all of my parents, until we have received, now this is their choice though, but this is my recommendation of 15 years plus of experience. You want to receive all acceptance and award letters, which are 2 different things. An acceptance letter means, yes, you've gotten in. You heard Ms. Adams say Adriana got money that came in her acceptance letter. However, that is not her award letter, which will come later, and 9 times out of 10 have more money on it. So you want to receive your award letter from all colleges first. And our families do what we call, all of our families do, a make a decision session with me at the end before May 1st in April. That make a decision session, we weigh the pros and cons of all schools and look at the numbers with a fine tooth comb. So there's no error, because colleges go up every single year. There's not a year they don't increase. And so we want to make sure you are preparing financially for 4 years, not just 1 year or 1 semester. That's our ultimate goal for every family. So yes, they sometimes try and put the pressure, but don't fall for the pressure. Should freshmen start preparing for the PSAT to get merit scholarships? Remember, the merit scholarships for PSAT is done junior year. So parents, if you do not have a junior yet, or if you had a junior and they didn't take that PSAT, that means they did not qualify for merit scholarship money. Merit scholarship is done junior year of high school. So of course they could take PSAT in the 9th grade, they can take it in the 10th grade. It's nothing but practice. And the 11th grade is when it counts for them to be considered for national merit money. Now, what does that mean? That means most high schools are not telling their parents and students, which most students who find me before that time frame for their junior year, make sure they take national merit. I have a class of 2025 student now who qualifies for national merit. Why? Because she could have stayed home that day and not taken it had she not known that in 11th grade is when it counts the most, because the school doesn't require the kids to take it in their junior year. It's optional, but it's not if you want to be qualified for national merit money. So there's so many things that our school system is leaving out when it comes to educating our families to make sure they can successfully maximize off the most money possible to get into college. You don't know how many public school kids take off school on the day of the PSAT in the 11th grade. Why do I know that? Because I've been the speaker at schools during an assembly for that time frame with 11th graders in the assembly. What? That is absolutely crazy, but that's what happens. So parents, please educate yourself on as many things as possible when it comes to this process, because there are a lot of things being left that are not being told. So if your student is not if they're at a private school or public school, and all they talk about is the SAT, I'm here to tell you tonight that they need to take both. You never know what you're great at until you try it. And so unless they take that SAT and score 1,500 or above first time, they need to make sure they take the ACT as well, just to see which one they better test take at. All of my shining stars take both. When they get their results, I review them and I tell them which one to eliminate. And then we focus on that test remaining on. 3 times is the golden rule for taking it, to try and see if you're an increase. Now, do you need to take it all 3 times? Absolutely not. because you might do okay and your scores align with your schools, but that's knowing in your research already and making sure you have everything together. What is the score on the PSAT 11th grade that qualifies you for merit aid? So they have a chart, and I haven't Googled their most recent chart, but the national average for the SAT reading or math is 550 plus on the SAT. The national composite average for the ACT is a 23 plus for the composite score. So those are the averages for it. Now, if we have any parents on here who are a class of 2025 student, meaning your student is in the class of 2025, they should be preparing to take the official SAT and ACT this winter. What does the winter mean? December and January. Once they look at get their scores back, you heard me just give you the national average, see where they are, determine which one they're a better test taker at, unless they're one of our shining stars, and I will tell them that. You need to make sure you stay on top of that and have them prepared to finish taking it in the spring and then one final time in the fall. Like meaning fall, meaning August, September. I don't mean like October, November, December. That's not the fall. Okay, so that's for the class of 2025. Class of 2026, 2027, you don't take an official exam, the official SAT or ACT until you are a junior in high school. That's when you start taking the official. Anything other than that, it's early and you don't really have to. You don't want to stress yourself and overwhelm yourself. By the time probably 2026 and 2027, both tests will probably fully online. So prepare yourself for that. Any other questions as we wrap up time? We're a little bit over, but any other questions? I want to make sure I'm here to answer any questions you might have. Do colleges look at college courses or even an associate's degree obtained in high school as a plus, or would they see that as a negative because the student would potentially come in as a sophomore, junior? No, so they never see it as a negative. What they do see it as is if they take the courses. Not every college take community college dual enrollment courses. Some do and some do not. Some will take some and not all, which will then kick them back from having necessarily an associate in the eyes of the school, but they will still have their associate in the eyes of the community college that they left. But it might not allow them to be a junior or a full sophomore at the collegiate level of the institution they are planning to apply and attend. So just be mindful of that. But there's nothing wrong with doing dual enrollment. In fact, it gives the kids a little bit of a head start, prepares them for what it's like to attend college and be at the collegiate level and the more rigorous level. So it's okay. Any other questions? And so now, if everyone would drop their, remember I said everyone who was live tonight, we would send out you the ebook. And so if you would just drop your if you would just put in the chat your last name so that I can grab your last name that you registered with, so we can make sure we email you directly the ebook for the interview. Okay. So Nelson Harris. All right, so you must drop your name because I'm not going to go back and look for them. I'm writing them down literally as you're dropping them, and we will make sure you get an email with the ebook. So the email will not go out to everyone. Of course, you'll get an email here saying thank you for attending, but it will not have the ebook attached. The ebook will come in another email separately to the people who chatted their name. And so again, the ebook will be for you helping to understand how to navigate college interviews. And so if you're interested in making sure you get the ebook, please put your last name in the chat and I will grab your last name. So far, Nelson, Harris, Green Johnson, and Mosby will receive their email with the ebook. And again, so just please don't say I was on the masterclass, but I didn't get the ebook. If you don't chat your name, you will not get the ebook because we will not send it out to everyone. It was a bonus for showing up here tonight for every parent, for the parents who show up that wanted it to be able to get it. So please make sure if you would like to receive that your name is in the chat thread. And if you, for some reason, can't chat, just come off mute and say your last name and I'll grab that if you want it. And for some reason, I know sometimes some people's chat box don't work or they're on their phone and can't chat, just come off of mute and say your last name and we'll make sure you get it as well. I'm going to take let me see, hold on one second. Any other final questions as well? So please, if you have any questions about our VIP program and you want more clarity around it and you are interested in your student joining at whatever grade level they are, please, now class of 2024, we are done. I don't work with any more seniors. We are absolutely done with class of 2024. So if you're on here and you were 2024, we are closed. Our cohort is closed for class of 2024. Our students have completed all of their college applications. I don't do any more college applications. But if you have questions, please, you can scan this code and book a discovery call to ask any questions about our program that was not clear for any reason to you and you're interested in enrolling your student. Please click the QR code and you can schedule a discovery call. Connect with us on social media. We share college bound tips every day, all day on our Instagram and our Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, scan the code. If you're on Instagram or you on both, give us a follow, shout us out. Please complete the survey. It's a quick survey. It says just give us a brief testimonial of how this masterclass helped you. Did we answer all your questions? And in fact, right now, if you had to describe this Q&A segment for you to pick my brain and get all your answers answered. If you had to describe it in one word or in multiple words, drop it in the chat here. Let me see so that I know when we get off tonight, I've done what I was supposed to do, or at least I know that you feel like I've done what I was supposed to do. And so I will be excited about that. And I can sleep well knowing that you guys got something from the masterclass that you needed. You felt like you're more equipped after being on the Q&A segment with us. You have more clarity around any questions that you had. You're more prepared, you believe, in moving forward. And we are grateful and thankful that you decided to take your time out and join us for the masterclass. Thank you, Ms. Vita J. She says, enlightening. Lene said, thank you, thank you. Ms. Nelson said, thank you. This has been great. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If there is no final questions, I don't want to hold you. I have given you all the information. You will receive, again, a thank you email. It will have the link to our VIP College Bound program in that email as well as the link to the discovery call. Connect with us socially on social media. If you want if you want me to come to your school, whether you're at a private school, homeschool club, or public school, and I don't already frequent your school, then by all means, alert your guidance counselor, connect us, and I will do just that for your students as well. Thank you again so much for being here. And our contact information you can see is across the bottom of the PowerPoint slide. We would love to have you in the scholarship membership. We would love to have you as a shining star. Grab a copy of my Amazon best-selling book, where Amazon says it's #1 for helping high school families navigate the college admissions process. It's a $20 investment. There's sample essays in here, scholarships, academic resume template, a recommendation letter template. Everything you need is right here in this book. If you can't join us in the VIP program, you have it here. You just have to do it by yourself with this. But in the VIP program, I do it with you and support you. So again, thank you for tuning in to tonight's Pick My Brain session. Have an amazing, happy Thanksgiving and holiday with your family and your loved ones, and continue to connect with us, continue to network with us. And we wish you nothing but success in the college admissions process. And again, thank you so much. Until next time, continue being amazing.